Today, we're here to discuss the future needs of batteries in the United States. And not only that, but where this entire market is going. Where is energy storage? Where are electric cars going? Particularly in North America, Canada, Mexico, the US car market, and the energy storage market. We're talking about billions and billions of dollars. John Pasalacqua is the founder of First Phosphate. First Phosphate is an emerging company with rights to the largest phosphate mine in Canada. Phosphate is a critical mineral needed for lithium iron phosphate batteries. However, there is a very limited supply of battery grade phosphate. And considering most major automakers in North America have plans or are already building lithium iron phosphate battery factories, this mineral will become strategically incredibly important in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and also even in China as well. Hi, John. Welcome to the channel. Fantastic to have you on again. Is there any other phosphate mines that are potentially going to be opened in North America over the next 5 years?
There's a few other companies that are looking to open phosphate mines. A couple of them of igneous nature. Others are of sedimentary nature, mostly geared towards fertilizer. There are projects that are out there, but as you know, can take longer. A lot of these projects that are already out there and that have been out there for a while have geared towards agriculture. Now that LFP battery has really woken up over the last 5 years, trying to pivot some of their potential future production to LFP. Like I said, we came into the market 3 years ago. We had sort of predicted that what would happen today is happening, which is great. I think we made a really good bet, and it worked. So we geared everything towards LFP production. Even the way we will be developing the mine, the offtake partners, the development of the downstream. All that is geared towards a vertically integrated supply chain for LFP battery in North America. And I think, as I showed you last time, we made the first LFP batteries ever made in North America in the last 25 years, fully of North American critical minerals, of which our phosphate was in it.
What do you see as your biggest challenge in the next 5 years? What's the number one thing where you're thinking this is going to be a good challenge?
Biggest challenge in all of these things has always been capital. We've raised a lot of capital in the company. We've raised almost $50 million. We've raised that mostly on our own, without any investment banks involved. We've got a great base of shareholders that continue to believe and continue to watch our execution. And the more we execute, the more excited they get to invest further. So now we've got the capital that we need to be able to do the feasibility study and to get the permits for the mine. So that's been a huge, huge relief. We're sitting with almost $30 million in the bank that allows us to work down that process over the next 12 to 18 months, come out of it the other side with permits. And once you've got the permits, then it's easier to get into place the funding to build out the mine. So that will probably be around mid 2027, and then we're putting together the capital from the institutional players, the sovereign countries, and the sovereign funds to build out the mine by 2029.
So, in terms of capital, you have enough capital for the next 18 months. And at that point, would there be another capital raise where people might want to get involved? And how would they know if there was going to be a capital raise?
At the moment, the plan is we have the capital to get us through, what they call the valley of death. It's when you go
Okay.
from the economic evaluation to the feasibility study and the permitting. That's where a lot of the junior companies fail. We've
Yeah.
got that capital to get us through that, and I wanted to make sure we raise that ahead of time. And it's not traditional of companies to do that. They kind of plunge into the valley with a quarter of the capital. We're plunging into it with 100% of the capital to get
Yeah.
through there. And at the end of that process, then it generally becomes non-dilutive funding, where the governments such as Canada, Quebec, also our Indigenous collaboration partners, and some of the local and European banks have already shown very significant interest in financing the build-out phase. So it's possible that there might not be other capital raises
Okay. Yeah.
even at that point, but I can't rule anything out. Any capital that would be raised now is from a position of strength. It's from a position of we only do it if there's really significant interest, and usually, a larger investor will approach us and ask us to do a capital round because it just cannot buy enough shares in the market. So
Yeah.
that's a good time to do these capital raises. So we're, right now it's really if anybody wants the shares, they really need to go out into the capital markets to get them,
Okay.
buy them on the stock exchange.
Okay. All right. I see. So right now, there's no opportunity for people to sort of do what I've done. They need to just go onto the stock market and go that way.
Yeah, so you came into our last round of financing, which I thank
Yeah.
you very much. That was very nice of you to believe in us. And right now, yeah, the only venue would be on the stock
Yeah.
exchange at the moment. If anything comes up, obviously we'll let your readers know.
John, I get an email from you guys, I think about every week. How is that right?
I'm not sure. It depends. When we have something to tell that's meaningful,
Yeah.
we put it out. Yeah, we believe in it's communication is very important, because like you said, it's such a big industry. Things are changing all the time, and we like our shareholders and their followers to understand that we're committed. We're committed to updating. You letting them know what's going on inside the company, but also as best as possible in the world and
Yeah.
in the industry.
I think you're actually really good at doing that because I have followed some other miners and you hear about it once every 12 months. It's ridiculous. So my point was actually to say, how do people, if they're interested in just seeing what you're doing, how do they track what you're doing? How do they get on the
Yeah,
email list? Yeah.
that's a really good point. If you come onto our website, which is www.firstphosphate.com,
Yeah.
at firstphosphate.com, at the top of the page, they can subscribe to the newsletter. Um, Also, we're in most of the feeds for the capital markets. Whenever there's a press release that goes around the world, so they can catch us in the feeds.
Yeah.
The other thing that's I have a good link to following. It'd be really important for everybody just to follow me on LinkedIn. Just look me up on my name, John Pasalacqua, and just follow me because I tend to break down only what I see as the most important elements in the industry, like a lot about what we talked about today
Yeah.
about big players moving into LFP, moving into energy storage. I'll usually take an article and I'll usually comment on it, try to be very neutral, and then I get all kinds of comments back from everybody, good, bad, ugly, or otherwise. And but it's good. Like we just try to have like good positive discussion, and so
Yeah.
I do a lot of that on LinkedIn. That's really important as well. And you can also follow us on YouTube. We like to break down a lot of what we do with nice videos such as these. Those are all on YouTube as well. And our website, we run a really information-driven website. It's not too flashy. It's really about lots of good content, whether viewable content in video format, which we're doing a lot of, but also
Mm.
in good written format. And again, we try to be neutral. We try to find just to inform and allow people to make their own decisions. And it's really the information is around like a lot of the things that we broke down today. We don't get too technical. It's just about the need. What is phosphate? The need for phosphate in batteries, why it's important, what's coming, and how do you understand it better, which is what we try to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you are very good at that, and you've got a lot of views on some of your YouTube videos. I'll put a link in the description to your YouTube channel if people want to check that out, and also to the email sign up page. Because I just keep thinking to myself, people want to know the next Tesla, and you just don't know who it is. But the more informed you are, the more chance you have of picking the right horse. Betting on the right horse.
I mean that those are big shoes to fall in. I mean, we just try to do the best every day that we can,
Yeah.
Sam.
I'm
And
not
like I
actually
said, we're
saying Tesla, but I mean the next opportunity to grow, opportunity to
right,
to get in early. And you not feel like, oh, it's too late now. It's Nvidia's already finished now. It's already, that feeling where
right,
you think,
right,
oh, if I buy it now, then it's just nothing's gonna change much because I was too late to this party.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of First Phosphate, we're happy with our shares. There's something called a preliminary economic assessment in mining, which we did, and so it gives a net present value on the mine. We trade at about less than 10% of the net present value of our mine, so there's still a lot of room to grow.
Mm.
That doesn't even factor in the downstream of the phosphoric acid, which has it's going to have another very large NPV to it. and then the making of cathode active materials at some point as well.
Mm.
I think there's quite a bit of room to grow in this company. It's really important that we as management continue to communicate, continue to execute. Like you said, there's a lot of questions in the industry as well. Like we're like everyone's 90 to 95% sure that LFP looks really good here for the next 10, 20 years. Um, but there's things that are changing all the time, right? So it's important for people to look at where the best investments are, and also to stay up and to stay knowledgeable, because the industry does
Mm.
move pretty quickly. And we as a company, we try to shift wherever we need to as well. Um, so that's important. I think management is really important in all of these companies that are able to stay on top of the industry and able to make the shifts as they develop. But as far as being involved in LFP, I mean, you can't get the LFP without the P. A lot of people are heading to all stocks because it's LFP. Well, you still don't make LFP if you only got the L, right? You still really need the F and the P. We know the F is out there. The F is scarce. That's the iron, but it's available. But the P is even scarce. So we're really focused on what is, I guess the last part of the trilogy, but a very scarce part of that trilogy. And we're just focused on getting phosphate into the electrification business.
John, what is your favorite sport?
My favorite sport? Oh, it's a tough one. I got two favorites. I've got hockey and I've got soccer.
Soccer.
Soccer coming up here, as you know. Yes, well, this year the World Cup
What team do you
in
follow?
North America. Well, I follow the Canadian team and I follow the Italian team. Those are my
Oh, you,
two
you
favorites.
follow Italy, the country of Italy.
Yes.
How do your fellow Canadian countrymen feel about you supporting the country of Italy?
Oh well, everyone supports one or two teams. I got my European team and I've got my North American team.
So, if
Yeah.
Canada and Italy are in the World Cup final together, who will you be following? Be honest.
May the better players win. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Good to talk to you, mate. I've got to head off, and I know you do too. But let's have this discussion again soon, because there's a lot of people who are interested in this. I got a lot of emails and a lot of interesting people. People just like fascinated by this potential.
Well, that's great, Sam. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure, and I learn a lot. You really go down and you break down a lot of the nitty gritty, just changing on a daily basis,
Hmm.
and it's important to really stay up on top of it. So thank you for that. Thank you for your great content when we're on, and also with your other spectators and interviewees.
I appreciate it, and I think after doing 8,000 videos, I should know some of the details in the industry. And I think there's not one industry where I feel like I do know all the exact details. It's sort of like there's so many things happening, and I think it's impossible for any one person to see everything that's happening. But all the stuff that I do see is is sort of a general overview of the entire market, and then with some details and specifics, some data that some people probably don't know, and that has kind of led me to thinking that this is a pretty tremendous opportunity. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed. It's definitely, I think, the early days, but we can see where it's heading. We can see exactly where it's going. It's quite easy to see where it's heading. And I think you're saying it's trading on 10% of its potential value. That's not even the vertical integration you're talking about with the other potential. That's only 10% of just the what you're saying the actual mine reserves are, right? Is that correct?
Correct. And based on, what is a 43-101 study, which is a technical document. Um, so yeah, obviously we believe there's a lot of opportunity in
Mm,
general in LFP in the industry. We believe we're the best positioned out there for it, and we've got good economics to support it. And like you said, it's a matter of every day getting up, um, getting that perseverance together, and always building towards that, unlocking that value, right? Getting that mine up and
yeah,
running,
yeah.
getting those downstream facilities up and going, and the industry cooperating as well, right? And the government sometimes, right?
Thanks, John. I'll finish it. I'll just pause it here.